Hello folks, I'm going to introduce you to Glide. This is a software that was created by Sebastian. He's the owner and founder of the company, and he was once upon a time a client in real estate. What he ran into a problem was the disclosures that he had to fill got him upset, thus creating the company. So clicking on Glide over here or through Matrix, it's all up to you. There's Glide under your external links, and you click on Glide and take it from there. So here's Glide. This is how Glide will turn up. Initially, if you haven't signed on to Glide, it will walk you through a few things. I want to take you through a couple of steps. What Glide does is it actually sets up disclosures that can be sent to your clients electronically. These are TDS or transfer disclosures, SPQs, special questionnaires for your clients, and also agent visual. So this is also for you when you're visiting clients' homes and inspecting them on your own and making your own notes. This will also help you out. You can also upload pictures, documents, and a few other steps with it. I want to walk you through all that. So let's begin. Always click on your name. First of all, I want you to go to your account settings. That's where we're going to start. And with that said, you can change your picture, or like in my case, I don't want to change my picture, but you can click on the new avatar. Make sure everything is selected. And one of the things that you want to make sure that depending on which association you're with, please select that. In this case, make sure your email is right and it's with zip forms, and make sure that it's the same. It will ask you for your local association here as well. If you have a team, then you can also have your team email set up as well. Your emails can also be sent to your TC, so you can even look at that. This is crucial. You do have to connect to zip forms, and I'm going to log into zip forms in a minute here. Give me a second. And what it's doing is synchronizing with zip forms. So all the forms that are in zip forms, if you create it as far as a new listing goes, what it will do is if you leave it blank and then open up Glide and start with Glide sending out disclosures to the clients, it will then come back once the client has filled everything out and write over the blank forms. So I'm going to show you that. So with that said, all this has to be filled out. And walking back, if I click on the logo, it takes me back to zip forms main page. And either you can start here with the disclosures or you can do it from new. The choice is yours. I'm going to start with new. I'm going to send out seller disclosures. I'm going to also pretend to be a seller. So that way you will understand how this system works. So we're going to create a new transaction, and 7596. So there's the address for the new property. It's a new transaction. I'm not going to name the transaction, leave that out. It's a residential. And I'm going to put the seller's name. I'm going to say Jay. And I have an email for Jay. There's ways to do this, so I'm going to show you that in a minute. You can do it by email electronically, sending it to the clients, and you can also let them use your computer, which I don't highly recommend, but if they don't have emails, they can use your computer, and I'll show you how that works. So let's put up Jay here @gmail.com. Okay, so here we go. So the transaction is either going to go to Jay's email or you're going to send it, let them do it on your computer. There's a couple of ways to. You are the listing agent. It's going to ask you those questions. Please reply to that. Make sure that you say yes and click at the bottom. These are the two forms that we're going to send out. There are other forms available. If you click here, it will show you the different forms. Now they can have exempt seller disclosures or lead-based paint items, manufactured homes, parking and storage disclosure, residential earthquake. You can choose any of these. So I'm going to leave those out. I'm just going to use the 2 right now and show you how and what the client will see. Do you want to attach an AVID at the moment? No. So are you aware with the property or HOA? No. And continue. There's J. Follow through. Now this is where you can send them an invite, or if you do this in person, they are sitting next to you, then you make sure that they give you the telephone number. That telephone number will lock in, but it will send them a text code, a 4-digit text code, which they will need to then give it to you in order for you to put it here. You will then have to verify it. So if you notice something by clicking next, you authorize Glide to send an SMS message to confirm your client's phone number, and the message and data rates applied. So that's one of the things that you do. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it by email. So I'm going to send them an email. This is a basic blanket email that goes out. I'm going to send it. And if you look carefully, it has sent that emails and the disclosures to the client. Now, just to give you a heads up before we go to Jay's email and pretend to be Jay, I'll give you a little heads up of what you can do. You can resend these forms, you can add other forms, you can also preview these disclosures, and you can also DocuSign or e-sign through here as well. This lock system is basically more for the pro version. You don't need to worry about it. The clients can also, if they've made mistakes and if they need to correct something, they can go back into, and you can let them know, they can go back into the system, the email that you send them, and they can start from there again, correct the questions that they made a mistake on, and then resubmit it back to you. So let's now go and pretend to be Jay, which is a client, and I'm going to open up an email with Jay. And here's the email. If you notice, here's Jay's information, and I'm going to go in and open it up. They do need to remember the password. If they don't know the password, they'll have to write it down. Make sure you tell them to write it down. So they're going to have to input a password initially always, and make sure they remember it. So now we are pretending to be Jay as a seller, and we're going to work through, I'm going to go through it quickly as possible and show you what they see on their side. They're going to acknowledge all the systems and accept the terms, and they're going to ask them to walk through the property as well, so just in case they need to make notes of it. One of the things that please remember, you will get a red flag from the client if they don't answer the question and ask you a question by red flagging it and say, look, I don't understand this particular question. Can you explain it to me? You can then call them back and explain it to them. They can then also go back and correct it. All right. There's also explanations available. And once the answers are saved, it will go back into the cloud. So here we go. So packet hasn't been started. It's going to ask me to acknowledge a few things again, get started. And another acknowledgement comes up. So would you like to list any inspection reports? At this point, I'm going to say no. And it's going to ask me about property items, which I'm going to go through. Now, this is where it gets a little, not tricky, but just it makes it so beautiful for them to fill things out. Is the seller occupying the property? The answer is yes. And these are the appliances. If the client doesn't understand what a range is, it will then explain it like this, and this is the description it gives, and they can always click on it. I'm going to say yes. What is an oven? The same thing. And it goes through and gives you a picture of the oven and describes it. All right. So in my case, I have an oven, microwave, dishwasher, trash compactor, garbage disposal. Now look at this carefully. I do have my own doubts on one or two items because I haven't seen it in my house, but it's available. So 220 volts, I have this available. I've seen this GFIs, and I've seen this as well, but this one I haven't seen. So I don't have that in my home, but I do have 220 volts in my home. So I'm going to click on that. Central heating, which I have, central AC I have, public sewer system. It's coming from the city. The gas utilities, water heater is gas in my case. Now there's burglar alarms. I don't have a burglar alarm in my case, but carbon monoxide devices, it will show you what it looks like. So they can go through that. I can select that. Smoke detectors, the same thing. All right. So it goes through everything. I don't have a fire alarm, but sprinkler system. On those sprinkler systems they use, oh, this is a different one. This is the overhead for fire sprinkler systems. So yes, I have those. I have a garage. I don't have any of those other items. Satellite dishes in that, it explains it. Any miscellaneous items. None of those I have, so we're going to leave that out. There's a list of items on the property. I don't need to say anything, but just give you a heads up. I want to go through, continue. But I cannot continue because I purposely left out this question. So answer is I have none of those. And move on. So it does keep a check on them as well. Is the garage attached to the property? Yes. Does your garage have an automatic garage door opener? Yes. How many remotes I have? In my case, I have 6. And where on the property I have laundry and garage. If you notice something, spell check. So clean it up, spell check is done. So I have a tile roof. It's going to ask me a question of how old the tile roof are. Do I know that? Yes. Mine's 19 years. And here's a negative question coming up about regarding all the equipment that we've gone through. Are they not in operating condition? The answer is no. Okay. Any defects, it's going to walk you through all that. Interior walls, none of that. In my case, I'm going to say none. And continue. Any substance material, in my case, no. Features, property shares, common area, no. Encroachment issues, in certain cases, certain areas do have issues with encroachment. Are you aware of any room additions? If they do, please let them know, and they can always red flag it if you want and make a comment here, okay? Are you aware of room additions? If they have permits and everything, they can upload that also here, by the way, building codes information. Are you aware of any fills? If they are, let them make sure that they make notes of it. None of this, so I'm going to keep going through. Are you aware of any major damages of properties or structure issues, earthquakes? If there is none, they can keep saying no. Now, is there any, are you aware of any neighborhood problems? I have So, kid next door plays drums every day at 6 p.m. In my case, yes. So I'm making a note of it. All right? Are you aware of any CCNR issues? It's going to go through all the questionnaire. So I'm going to just go through this quickly and get to the next one, the SPQs. If there's a lawsuit, now if there's a lawsuit, usually a mechanic's lien or something that's a lawsuit, you might want to make sure that the client is aware of it. If there's anything here, you can attach attachments. All right. I have none to show. So we move on. Review. I don't have to review anything. Just move on to the next question here. And this is the SPQ, Seller Proprietary Questionnaire. Accepting. And year 2, I'm going to go on quickly. So this one I have this is a joke, folks. So right, you can do that. But this is nothing to do with, please note, this is nothing to do with pets dying on the property. It's to do with human. All right. So I'm just giving you some kind of an example. Whoops, this is all no's now. So I just want to go through the process and show you all the no's. Then we go on to the next phase of the training. So it's going to ask them all these questions, and they just need to go through each one of them. Was the property built before 78? No, in my case. Any explanations? No. Any structural issues? No, in my case. Throughout, my property is a little pretty new. It's about 19 years old. Financial relief. So if there's a fire or somewhere, some of these Anaheim Hills and those areas, if there were fire issues, then if they got assistance from FEMA, they might want to actually note that and put that into those questionnaires. Pets, animals passed? No. So I'm going to say no to most of it. This reminds you of like the FBI questionnaire for applying for like a TSA card. There's no disease on the property from any of whoops. Are you aware of operational sprinklers on the property? So you can say no, yes or no. It's up to you. Pool heater, no. Spa, in my case, no. Any additional items? No. And are you aware of the property condominium located on the? No. So here we go. Neighborhood, I've already said about the child next door. You don't have to repeat it, but at least it's there. Sometimes if a homeowner has been there for a while and they may not be, they got used to the sound effects and everything, and the new homeowner comes in, they may be more sensitive to sound and some other issues. Then giving the best answer possible is the way to go. So look into that. They're going to continue right now. So I'm going to go on to the next part of it. So this is going to get submitted to Glide. And once it's submitted, we're going to go back to Glide, and I'm going to show you everything that's been done. So, and here's Glide. Everything's been submitted. So here's the information that came in from Jay once he's answered all the questions. Now, if there were some issues with it, you could have resent it to Jay, or you could actually tell them to go back into the email and sign back in from here. Okay? That's one way to do it. You can download all the information, and you can also archive it. There's reminders. You can also send it out for signatures and everything else. But right now, I'm going to generate these forms and put it into zip forms. Now, zip forms, if you look carefully, the property address, this is the latest one that I've worked with. It's not there in my transaction folder. So coming back, I'm going to generate these forms. And this is going to link it up with zip forms and put all the forms in there. Signatures of the clients are not there because now you're going to get all prepared, review it first, and then send it out to the clients for signatures. All right? So we're going to continue. It's going to go through the process and help you out. It says this is the particular forms that they've signed. We're going to work on that. Yes. and it's syncing with zip forms. I'm going to go to zip forms. So dashboard and come back to transactions. So here's the property that we are talking about. If I go to documents, if I go to questionnaire, and everything grayed out is basically locked. So if I do a full screen here, you will see everything that is grayed out, I cannot touch. You as an agent cannot touch it now. The only thing you can touch or do something and modify is everything to the blue areas. That's your responsibility. On that, no. You notice something, laundry and garage, I've written down here, and then kid next door plays drums. I even spelled it wrong, but that's okay. All right, so you need to now select, and you're going to send an agent visual and just set it up. So you're done basically in this case. So going back to even the SPQ is filled out. And if you look at it on the right hand side, it's also grayed out. So you can't touch it. There's no fraud can be committed, and it's safe to go. So let's go to AVIDs, and you'll see what I'm talking about, that you can actually now fill out the AVID or AVID as we call it. So I don't have to download, I'm finishing everything, and it's all completed. Now go back to the home page, and I want to actually now create an AVID. So this is where I'm going to create an AVID. All right, is that an existing property? Yes, this is the one. Click on it. There's the same information about Jake. Create. Are you the listing agent? Yes. Now you can do it as a buyer's agent as well, so it's for both sides. You just need to choose which one you want to do. Okay, when was the inspection done? It's giving the time frame. It gives you the time, the information about the weather. Who else was present? In my case, I always say Redman. Whoever was present, please put the information on. Or is this duplex, triplex? No. Property observation. Now this is where you come in. So your observation, first entry door, for instance. So I'll say glass stained door, and I'll take a picture or I'll upload it. So I'm going to put my picture just for jokes. And there's a picture that is uploaded, just to give you a heads up. Let's do, say, bedrooms. So the bedrooms is very unique. Each one will be labeled. There's a number here. So first bedroom, second bedroom. Master has carpet and tile. So that's the observation I made. Save it. Go back here. If you notice something, it says you've selected one already, or you worked on one. Let's do a second one. Second bedroom is already automatically selected. I'm going to say pink walls and shaggy carpet. Yeah. You can take a picture. Choice is yours. Add. Third one. Blue walls and hardwood floors. Whoops. I thought I was typing. My big mistake. Blue walls and hardwood floors. Yeah. So You can go through each one of them like that. You can, if you want to make some changes, you can also do that. Oh, wait a minute, the bathroom master. We'll come to the master had a fireplace, right? So you can add that up. Let's go to the bathrooms. It's same thing here as well. So master has a spa installed. Okay. Second bathroom, Jack and Jill bathroom for the 2 rooms. Okay. You can add a third one, which will be half has no windows. How's that? Okay. So there's ways to add the things up, and you can keep noting as you go. So all this can be set up and sent to actual zip forms as well, and acknowledged. Now you can create the folder of any new properties from Glide or zip forms. Either way, your choice. You can do it through here. If you do it through here, then it will give you additional guideline. Also, it will submit all these forms for you: cover sheet, listing agreement, transfer, TDS, SPQs, agent visual inspection, which is coming up soon, right? So that can be done. So with that said, let me see if I want to add something new. I can go through and just change things as you wish. You can do other rooms, exteriors, you can make notes of that. And there's any other observations you have, maybe the lawn or sprinkler systems, or maybe there's a gazebo, whatever it is, you can actually apply it to this. Garage, the same thing, hallway, living room, dining room, kitchen. Then you can add other rooms like a playroom, okay? Entertainment room, maybe a theater, whatever. You can apply that here as well, all right? So with that said, I'm practically done with this. At this point, I want to send it out to zip forms. So I can take a picture if any need be. I can upload any files. I have nothing to do. You can sync it, or your team member can sync it. Either way, I would sync it initially because you did the AVID. It's very easy, all done. Continue. It's going to sync with zip forms, and we're going to go to zip forms and open it up there. So we are in zip forms. I'm going to go back here to backlist and then open it up through DocuSign documents, and here's the AVID. Okay, here's all the information that is set up. Now there's an added part that I want to show you, is the picture. And remember, I talked about the stained glass. I mean, I put my picture on it, but you would put a stained glass picture of the door, and this would come into the zip forms folder as well. So that's where it's sitting now. You notice that. So all this has been created. Now, before you do anything else, you could also go through your zip form cover sheet and fill things out if you want, and take it from there. Okay? Oh, by the way, just to give you a heads up, I just saw something else also. It also put in information on your cover sheet as well. It does put the name of the seller here. If you have all that information available, the more information you have, the better it's going to work out for you. And it's going to fill everything out for you there. All right? So it's all done. So going back, now you can actually send it out for signatures from here. It's all up to you. Make sure you send the photograph as well, and just send it for signature. And off it goes. You can select all your different documents, I can select all the ones that I want to send out, and it's done. The cover sheet, leave it alone and send it close, and you're done. All right. The listing agreement, you better have that set up right, otherwise it won't work. And we are done. So with that said, you can come back to zip forms. I'm going to go back to what I done, finish. And just to give you a heads up on a couple of things here, if you're completed with these transactions items, you can do is archive them. You notice you cannot delete them. So the only way you can work with this is archive them. And once it's archived, go to the left-hand side, go to archive, open that particular item up, and now you can delete them. Or you can unarchive them as well. You can view them, fill these forms out. There's a lot of changes you can do. I'm going to delete them just to give you a heads up. Go back to active, and it probably has my just loading on this thing right now. So trying to figure out which forms it has for you that I can show you. It's taking a little while. Okay, either the server or the internet. There you go. So request for seller disclosures, I'm going to archive that and also delete them. And go to archive and have them deleted from there. So once I see it here, I'll remove them. So we're going to conclude the webinar after this, once I delete them. And please use the system. It's very easy. If you have issues, always contact somebody at the bottom. The help support is always there for you folks, so work on that. All right? So it's going to take a while to load. I don't know how long it's going to wait, but I'm going to just give you a heads up, let it be. And there you go, it came up. So I'm going to delete it. Again, we are done. So that was Glide, and you've got the full version of it. There's a few more things coming out. There's going to be Glide 2.0. This is 1.0. And you can also join webinars. There's daily webinars at 11 o'clock. If you don't understand it or you want some questions answered, you can actually work it from there as well. Other than that, I wish you everybody a successful career, and hopefully you make a lot of money. Have a nice day.